The Just In Case podcast with your hosts, Mike and Mike, driven by passion, defined by quality.
Welcome back, everyone. This is Season 1, Episode 2 of the Just In Case podcast, brought to you by JIC Appliance Care. We're going to jump right into it, I think, today. We're going to start talking about maintenance tips and some of the tips and tricks that we do to really maintain that for customers. In our business, we found that it's super important to maintain some of these higher end products, especially in peak season. We have kind of a snowbird situation in New York, and especially on the East End, where people are, coming here just for the summertime. And when they're out here, they don't want any hiccups with their appliances. They just want it to be smooth sailing.
Yep.
So, some of the stuff that we do is we've built a bit of a system internally to automatically put them on checks for all their household appliances. I would say average 8 to 12 months in that realm.
Yeah, about that.
And, we'll talk about what we do when we're looking at these units, the notes that we're making, all the stuff that's important to document what you're doing in the home for the customer's sake and also for our sake, really, because... Yeah. We want to be able to go back and take a look at what we've done. And, if the customer ever says like, hey, this isn't cooling or my gasket's ripped, well, we have pictures and notes of the gasket was ripped and you didn't approve the quote, which has happened.
Yeah, which happens a lot,
believe it or not. So, Mike, if you want to dive into that a little bit yourself today, you could talk about kind of some of our in-home protocol. And then I'll touch on the back office side of it a little bit.
Yeah, so basically when we go to a house, when we're doing performance checks, we want to make sure everything is working up to par. We check the gaskets. We inform the customer that, your condensers on your refrigerators are very important, and they should be cleaned at least 6 months to at the most once a year. They get very dirty. With those being clogged, it really kills the efficiency of the refrigerator or freezer, and it overheats the compressor, and none of that's really good. So you want to stay on top of that. So we inform the customer with that. We also let them know if they have air filters, water filters, and they should be changed every 6 months to a year, depending on the manufacturer. We make sure all the fans are working, the control panel's working, there's no error codes, make sure doors are closing, opening, sealing good, and basically just want to make sure everything's working the way it should be. We check temperatures on ovens. If we have to calibrate it, we'll calibrate it, make sure all the fans are working, sounding good.
I couldn't tell you how many times we go to people's homes and we're trying to explain to them how important it is to clean the condenser.
Yeah, and they've never done it, never heard of it.
Yeah.
They always call the condenser the compressor.
Yeah.
I clean the compressor, or they change the compressor. It's funny.
It's amazing to me. I mean, we obviously we handle refrigeration, so we know what the purpose of that is. And what a lot of people don't realize about refrigeration is that it's not really making things cold. What refrigeration is, it's actually drawing the heat out. And the condenser is what they use to dissipate the heat back into the environment.
Throws it outside, so it needs that airflow, man.
Yeah, but if that's clogged, you're never going to be cooling efficiently. It's not only about, the temperature per se, but it's about the efficiency. You don't want to beat up your compressor constantly running, and it's trying to catch up to itself by making the unit cold because it has a clogged condenser. It's just not...
Yeah, compressor's overheating.
It's not smart. Look at any user manual.
And your freon pressures, too. Without that, your freon pressures get really high because the condenser's not doing what it's supposed to do and condense the freon.
Exactly. Talk about the other appliances. I mean, we do dishwashers, microwaves,
laundry. Laundry's a big thing. People with dryers, they do not. They always say to me, "Oh, I always clean my lint filter all the time," and then when you open it, there's so much lint because they think that's where it ends.
Right.
They don't realize that the whole dryer has to come apart. There's lint everywhere in that thing.
Exactly.
It's crazy, man. The amount of lint I see in there, I don't know how there was never a fire.
Yeah, I mean...
it's scary, especially with gas.
Quick side note on that, number one cause of house fires in America is dryer lint backup in ductwork.
Yeah.
So, it's super important. I often tell people, when you turn your clocks back, clean your dryer vent out.
Yeah.
It's just a reminder for that twice a year mark.
Yeah.
You know you're going to turn your clocks back, right? So you don't have a
Yep.
choice. Same thing with what they say with smoke detectors. It's the same principle. It's
It
that
really is.
important. It's that important.
And I don't like the whole thing of running your appliances when you're not home.
Yeah.
That's a little iffy with me.
I know. It's a habit.
There's so
I
much
think a lot
stuff
of people
happens.
have.
Yeah, it's you never know what can happen, man.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it
Dishwashers flooding,
in my
especially
own
people do it when they
neighborhood.
go to sleep at night.
Yeah.
That's weird.
I'm guilty
I had
of all
one the
those
other
things.
day with that.
I'm guilty of all those things. We
Yeah.
run it overnight. We run the dryer when we're
Yeah.
not home. I mean, it not good things to do by far.
No.
I mean, you know, we should make more of a conscious effort not to do that.
No,
I
I
think
know.
for sure. I've seen house fires in my neighborhood alone from dryer vents, like right
Yeah.
across the street from me. Whole house went up in flames. So it's common, and it happens probably more often than you think.
Yeah,
Even when you
bad.
talk about washers.
Mm-hmm.
So many things you can do
Yeah.
for washer maintenance that nobody does. Nobody. I mean, just to touch on that quick, your gaskets on a front load washer.
Yeah.
People call our office probably daily and say,
Yep.
hey, do you guys offer a service to come out and clean that?
Yeah.
No, unfortunately we don't, because number one, you can never really clean it all the way. There's
Nah.
always mold spores that are in
Yep.
there.
Once it's there, it's it.
That's it. And now they sell all this stuff. I honestly think it's really just a selling point for a lot of
Yeah, I
companies.
want to see it really in person. I've seen that on
Yeah.
TikTok or online, but I want to see it.
It's like a gel, or it's
Yeah.
basically a bleach-based substance
Yeah.
that's supposed to kill all the mold. But what they don't realize, I believe, and out there, if you know any different, correct me, but I believe
Yeah.
it's like partially porous, that gasket
the
where
bellow? Yeah.
the mold gets embedded in there, and you just can't get it out.
No.
It's not coming
and the
out.
smell. The
So what
smell
do we do?
Never wants to go away.
When we go do a performance check on a washer, there's so many things we do, and I'll
Yeah.
touch on that real quick. So what we do is we inspect that bellow. If it's moldy or dirty or ripped or torn or whatever, we're sending an estimate for a new gasket. 9 times out of 10, people are like, you know what, replace it, because
Yeah.
it smells.
Yeah.
That's number one. Number two, we take out the soap dispenser, we clean that out, and if you look in the soap dispenser, sometimes above it is where the water will come in. It gets very moldy in there. We wipe that out. We clean it out. These are things that customers just don't do.
No,
they don't do. So, we go to homes that have 6 washers and dryers.
Yeah.
So we're there doing all this preventative maintenance to make sure it doesn't smell and just try to stop that call and complaint of, oh, my washer smells, from even happening. We try to nip it in the butt
Yeah.
right away.
Especially when we put a new gasket on, we try to explain to the customer, once we do that and it's brand new, we'll try to give them tips on, let's do this, this, and that, so it
to
doesn't
prevent it,
happen
to
again.
prevent
Make
it,
sure
yeah.
there's no water sitting in there
All the time.
And then we also give to our customers what's called a door catch, right?
Yep.
Where it keeps the door open so airflow gets in there and doesn't cause mold.
Yeah, I think even with the doorkeeper that we give to customers, I
Yeah.
think it's more about the mental part of it than it is about the door. Listen,
That's
if
what
you
it
keep
is.
the door open, it's going
Yeah.
to stay open 9
Yeah.
times out of 10. 9
Yeah.
times out of 10. But if you had that catch next to it, it's kind of reminding you, like, all right, let me make sure
Yeah.
I leave it open. It's not
Yeah.
only about, just having the doorkeeper there.
Yeah.
But we're huge on customer education. I mean, huge.
Yeah.
I want my customers to be informed, and when we go in, even if it's laundry, cooking, whatever, we try to give them our own preventative maintenance tips
Yeah.
just to help themselves out. Listen, some people they're not technically inclined.
No.
They just can't figure it out.
No.
And some people just don't want to deal with it. And that's
No.
fine with us, because we
Yeah.
don't mind dealing. It's what we
No,
do.
that's
It's
what we do.
So, there's so many different things that we do with a performance check. So let me circle back a little bit to kind of the backside of, what that looks like. So our office gets a call from a customer, property estate manager, whatever it may be. They make up a ticket for us, and we try to get as much information as possible from that customer before we even go out there. So we're going to ask them, how many units are we looking at? 10 to 15. All right, great. How many refrigerators? 5. They're all Sub-Zeros. They're all LGs, whatever it may be. Hey, do you have the model serial tags? No, I'm sorry. I'm not at the property. I live in California. All right, don't worry about it. Our office, will make the ticket, and our technicians will go out there and they'll document the model and serial tag for future reference, which I think is huge.
Yes.
There's so many people in this industry that are still what I call pen and paper companies.
Yeah.
I go to customers' homes and they have literally a carbon copy
Yeah, I
receipt
seen it the other day.
from a technician that says, like, changed bellow.
Yep.
X amount of dollars. That's it.
Replace the part, but there's no in-depth of
Nothing.
anything, man.
So
that's just to cover your butt, too, at the end.
Yeah, but so by our office building up that ticket before we even get out there, we're ahead of them 10 steps.
Yeah.
So now, not only does that make our job a little easier when we get in the home, but futuristically, if they call and say, hey, my refrigerator in my kitchen is not working, I don't think the fan's running. All right, well, me and Mike we'll look that part up, and before we even go out there, we try to bring the part with us because we want to get it done before. So like I said on our previous podcast, and I'll repeat constantly, we're huge on first-time completes.
Yes.
We want to get it done the first shot. Why? Number one, it's cost-effective for the business. That's number one. But number two, what it does is it makes the customer happy. There's nothing better than you going there and solving the problem same day. Nothing better.
I had that last night after we did the podcast.
Oh, yeah?
With that customer, man. I had all the parts on my truck, and it was a Saturday night, and I got it repaired for her, and she was ecstatic, man.
Yeah. Yeah. So
very happy.
So, the paper side of it, the back office side of it is so big. It's so important. So what we do during the call is now we're documenting, model serial tags, and we take pictures. So even if we're off by a digit on that model serial tag, we have a picture to reference that and say, oh, there's a mistake. We're off by one digit, and we correct it.
Yeah.
That also can help us narrow down where the unit is in the home. Sometimes we make notes of that. In the home, we're making such, listen, don't mean to boast, but I think we're making great notes. Yeah. We're making very in-depth notes of everything that we've done to that unit while we were in the home. And if the customer is there, we often ask them, like, hey, have you had any work done to this and what was done? If they know, if they don't know, whatever. Yeah. We put that in the notes.
Previous servicer, all that.
I
like
stuff.
To write books. Everyone used to make fun of me because of that.
Yeah, he's known for writing novels, which I don't think is a bad thing. It's part of the reason why we've been successful here. Yeah, does it take a little extra time? Yeah, it does take time. But at the end of the day, what it really does is gives us a better description and a narrative going forward if we need to go back to that home.
And it's easier for the office too. And if they look it up, it tells everything that was done and there's no questions about it.
Exactly. Once we wrap up in the home, we can instantaneously from our devices send a receipt to the customer. And in that receipt, it's going to give them a breakdown of everything that we did there, line by line, and it gives them descriptive notes of everything that we did there.
Yeah.
So it's not only about the price aspect of it. No. They're also seeing what was physically done there.
Yep.
So if I've been in your home for 2 hours and we charge you $1,000, let's just say, now you're going to know why. It's not a question. I'm not giving you a carbon copy piece of paper that says $1,000 replace parts.
Yeah, replace parts below.
And like we said just a minute ago, it happens all the time where we're seeing that. It's actually bizarre in this day and age that that's happening. I don't know. How a company's ran efficiently that way is beyond me.
Yeah, the customers love it. They feel more comfortable when they see that everything, because they don't really know what's going on.
No.
They don't understand, like, oh, your compressor's not working because it needs this, or you're low on Freon. So when you kind of write it up and explain it to them, so when they have to go back to it, they see everything. Oh, yeah, that's why he did that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
It's like a learning lesson at the same time.
Yeah, and then the nice thing about that, too, is it's all saved on the cloud.
Yep.
And if for some reason they don't get that receipt, they call our office, and one of our CSRs will easily just send it right over. There's no secrets here. We have nothing to hide. What we're writing is what's happening. It's that simple. So I don't have to worry about that customer calling my office asking questions and my CSRs don't know the answer. They know the answer because they're going to pull up our notes and they're going to see it verbatim.
Yeah.
So going a step further than that, then once the call's completed, our CSR team or office team will then basically set that same exact job up futuristically 8 months down the road.
Yeah.
And most of our customers love that feature.
They don't remember. They don't have time.
They don't remember. No.
They're happy as a pig in shit.
Yeah. They just want to know. They just want to see that it's going to get taken care of.
Yep.
They don't want to have to worry about it.
No.
That's the bottom line. They don't want to have to worry about it. And you know what? Even our property managers, like, they send us a list at the beginning of the season, like, hey, we need XYZ. And then what we also do is we have a separate entity from our management, our customer management system that we use. Google Sheets, very simple. Anyone can do it. And I'm pretty sure it's free. So you'd be crazy not to, but we put so much analytical data in there. We're tracking everything within the business.
Yep.
I mean, we have to, and that's part of the reason why we are profitable, and you know, we have to stay on top of that stuff.
And I'm all new at that stuff. I never used to do any of that, and I'm surprised I've picked up a lot in the last.
Oh, for
year,
sure,
100%.
definitely. I mean, but we, you know,
You have to be.
We didn't have a choice, honestly. If we wanted to do things right, that's how we had to do it. So what we do is now what we'll do is we'll create a sheet. And in that sheet, we'll have our property managers listed. We have their properties listed, and we have the last date of service that we were there and what we did for performance checks specifically, which is our verbiage that we use. We say performance checks. Other companies use different, you know, verbiage. So now, if that property manager reaches out to us next year and says, "Hey, I need a list of the properties you guys did last year." No problem. It's already done. It's already done. We don't have to scramble. We're not looking through carbon copies. It's in the cloud. We download it and send it over instantaneously. I say some of the best feedback I think we get from customers across the board is how responsive we are.
Yes.
That's
100%.
huge. That's huge. I think one day, you know, we're going to have an episode and we're going to talk about so much more of the back office stuff, I think, because it's so pivotal to the business in general, you know, and the feedback that we're getting every day, every single day on how these servicers are in the realm of appliances don't even answer phone calls.
No.
Like, I don't know.
Call no one back.
I don't understand that.
It's like they don't want the business. I don't get it, man.
Yeah. So
blows my mind.
You know, we do something that's unique to us too. I'm sure there's other companies that do it out there. Let us know. Give us a like, subscribe, share, comment, please. Follow us. You know, I want to know what other people are doing. Do they have performance checks programs built? You know, what are they doing to connect with customers? We rolled out probably a year ago. We do a monthly newsletter, which helps with SEO, which some of you might not even know what that is, but search engine optimization. Basically what it does is it helps you bring people to your page by certain keywords. So, you know, we're doing SEO stuff in the background. Mike probably didn't even know what SEO meant until I just mentioned it, but hey, that's why we're a good partnership. There's things I know that he doesn't, and he knows that I don't, and that's why we're here. So, yeah, I want to know, are you guys doing newsletters?
Blogs?
Blogs? What are we doing? You know, like I said, we stepped into the realm of podcast. Why not? Yeah. You know, I think it's a
social
cool way.
media is a big thing nowadays, man.
We want to interact with people. We want people to interact with us. I mean, I am so excited to get feedback from people, good, bad, and the ugly.
Yes.
You know, so reach out to us. It's very important. Let's see, what else was I going to mention?
There's a lot of, I noticed, especially with, you know, going on service calls and what other companies do is like, you know, they'll come out and they don't even, like, they'll collect the trip fee, leave, don't call the customer back, or say we're going to order a part.
Right.
And then they just MIA.
Yeah.
Oh, you need this part, we're going to order it, take the trip fee, disappear, and then there's no heard of them. And then they end up calling us to go because the guy that came and diagnosed it never
I mean, it happens.
Call them back. It's crazy. It
happens probably way too often. And I think that's what we're trying to do, right? We're trying to
change that.
We're trying to change that. Like, there's no reason why you need to do that. You know, if you're having a skilled trade is important.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, it's important. I was watching a podcast myself not long ago. I don't know if it's true or not, but hey, I'll bring it up. They were saying basically that plumbers are in such dire need that's like the next batch of millionaires are going to be plumbers. You know, like, if you want to be a millionaire, become a plumber. It's, you know, it's crazy that's what it's come to. But skilled trade is going to be around for a while. AI, I think AI, the internet, social media, and all that stuff is only going to help us. No. I don't think it's going to hurt us in this industry yet. Who knows what 20 years, 10 years from now brings? Nobody knows. But, I mean, there's certain tools. I'll give an example. I haven't played with it much yet, but I know it's out there. Shout out to Marcone. Marcone. We buy a lot of parts from
lot of
Marcone,
parts.
and they have recently started advertising what they call like an AI tool. It's a free tool, I believe, but it helps newer technicians and maybe even older guys help diagnose problems in products using artificial intelligence. So I'm thinking, I don't know, I'm not sure. We'll dive into this futuristically, but I think basically you type in like dryer not heating, and this AI program is going to pull
What the possible causes could
exactly,
be. Really?
exactly, which is pretty cool. I mean, because it could be, listen, a dryer, so many things, everything from a thermistor to a timer to a heater, you know, a belt switch, which everyone looks past. So it's so many different things it could be. But anyway, that just touching on that real quick is, it's the wave of the future. It's what it's going to be.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to hurt us. I think it's going to help us.
It's going to help, I think, especially with newer techs.
Yeah.
And also, I feel like people don't look at appliance repair
As,
being
like a
technician
technical trade.
like a trade, like like people go to school for HVAC.
Exactly.
They go to school for all this, but they never look at appliance repair.
Yeah, I agree.
And I feel like I don't understand. It's such a big thing.
It's huge.
And I think it's great. I love what I do.
Yeah.
And I had that with a customer the other day. I was there for an Electrolux dryer. I was making a noise, so I took it apart. I needed roller wheels. She came downstairs, and she saw the dryer apart, and she goes, "Oh, my God." She's like, "What made you wake up one morning
And want to do this?
and want to do the appliances?" And I said, "Oh, I love it."
Yeah.
I said, it's something different every day. It's not the same thing. I could never go to a job and punch 9 to 5 ever since I started this. Never.
Yeah, no,
I just can't do it.
You definitely, this guy can't sit still. He's constantly doing things. He's always doing something. And I always say he eats, sleeps, and shits appliances, and I kind of mean it though. But
Yeah, I do.
it's not a bad thing.
No.
You know, it works.
It's nothing like the feeling of being able to fix something
I agree.
for someone.
I agree.
And I could never explain that when people used to ask me. And I don't know about you guys. Maybe you guys can explain it better. But I used to tell customers, and they wouldn't understand, like the feeling of going somewhere and telling, you know, going to a customer's home and saying, "Oh, I fixed this the problem, and I fixed it and got it working." Or if you call the customer the next day to check up, and she's like, "Oh, your appliance is working good," and they're like, "Oh, it's working great. You fixed it."
Yeah.
You get that sense of like, "Wow, I fixed it."
100%. It's almost like therapeutic in
Yes.
a way. It's like therapeutic. I remember working for a previous servicer. We were doing a lot of LG compressor swap outs constantly. I mean, probably 2 a day.
And they're not easy.
No,
You don't
I
know
mean,
what you're doing.
No, it's not easy.
You gotta
it's not
learn it.
hard, but it's not
Yes.
easy. But they're just temperamental.
Yes,
Those units are
very
temperamental.
temperamental.
But I will tell you, I took it upon myself to call the customer to find out if that unit was working for that previous servicer that we worked for.
Was it more for your state of mind?
It was for me. It was for me.
I
It was
know.
for me. 100% it was for me because I was like, wow, it's still working. Or I fixed it. Was more like I fixed it. Like I
Yes.
felt.
No one else could, and I went there and get it, and I got it done.
Exactly. Which selfish of me, but whatever. It is what it is. I think that's part of the reason what built me up to become better and better and better was just
and every
challenging
day
myself.
You want to become better and better and learn and find all the tricks and see what's new. I mean, that's how I look at it, man. That's why social media is such a big thing.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I mean it's cool to see that side of it.
Yeah.
It's cool to see. I mean,
Especially from a customer. I mean, they don't. Customers don't look at it in the tech's point of view. You know what I mean? It's like
they think it's the end of the world. Like they're calling you because I love this is a perfect example. They're like, my ice maker's broken and I'm having a big party this weekend. And you show up there like a knight in shining armor and you replace the ice maker or a water valve or whatever it is, and they're like, "Oh my God, we can have the party now."
Yeah.
And it sounds so stupid to us, but like for them, that was like literally a factor of canceling their party with the ice maker. So yeah, it is a very cool feeling knowing that you can go in there and fit. On the flip side, hold on, let me just reverse a little bit.
Yeah.
It drives me nuts when we can't figure something out.
No, I know. It's just like, you know, people say you leave your job and you go home, but not with that.
We
It
don't.
bugs me. At least I don't. Yeah, we don't.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I've left a home and there's sometimes 3 days later I'm still thinking about it.
Yeah,
and I
like,
can't
what else
and
can
I'm
I
like
do?
I'm like infamous for that because I'll call Mike like 12 times and be like, could it be this? Could it have been that? Did I miss something? Did it this? You know, like, hey, listen, you know, you go there, you try your best to take care of it, and sometimes you're going to chase your tail a little bit with these units, especially with the circuitry and all that good stuff. So, you know, happy to say that doesn't happen frequently, but
No,
you know,
it
when it does, it kind of
I had a guy when I first started at Sears, and he always said this to me. KISS, he said, keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah, I love that.
Do the simple things first. Go after that. Don't rip a whole dryer apart or a fridge and go crazy when it could have been just a little thing that you could have got done in 5 minutes.
Exactly.
And I feel like a lot of people do something. That's how you chase your tail sometimes.
Yeah.
So
keep it simple, stupid. I love that too. I love acronyms. I mean, I guess maybe that was just from my previous work. You know, we acronymed everything, but yeah, it just helps your mind kind of process things the way you should. More
try
often.
to figure it all out in your head. You know, all right, let's see what could be causing that. Let me check that. Let me check. I remember one time I said something. I think me and you were at a job, and I forgot if it was a dryer or a range. And I said to Mike, "All right, we're gonna check. Let's check the power first." And what do we do? Not check the power.
Yeah.
And that's what it was. And I kicked myself. I'm like, I knew we should, and I didn't do it.
Yeah. And now you learn from that because like one of the first things we do is like automatically check the power right away.
And I didn't think it was the power a couple times, and I go and I check that first, and I'm like, oh yeah, your power's bad.
Yeah.
You lost a leg.
Yeah. Yeah. Which you know.
With dryers, especially in ranges, you need 240 volts, and when you're losing a leg, that's it.
Yeah. Speaking of performance checks and losing legs and stuff like that in terms of electricity, one thing that I started recommending to customers is a whole home surge protector.
Yeah.
I'm actually getting one on my house. I have the part. I just got to put it in. But basically, it's I call it an insurance policy, if you will, right? Because it's kind of protecting your appliance. We've been. I'll give a quick example of a home we went to west of us in an area that is prone to power surges. They have a generator, all that good stuff. Beautiful home. She blew out like 14 appliances from a power surge. I mean, it must have been a pretty big surge to take that much out. But yeah, so ever since then, I try to recommend it as much as we can because we go to people's homes and a power surge.
Is it that hard to put one of those in?
No, it's not.
So,
I mean, even if you pay an electrician a couple $100, I mean,
it's worth it.
The power surge protector itself that goes inside the panel is, I think it's like maybe $140, and then let's just say you spend another $140 to throw it in. Let's call it $300, just for the peace of mind. I feel like even if
they make them for outlets too. Like, didn't we do it once? You could actually surge protect outlet.
Yeah. So now they have 110, 120 volt outlets that have surge protectors built into them. I'm pretty sure you need a neutral and a ground at the outlet. And it's just like if you want to protect a specific device. Yeah,
not the whole house.
So, but also with that, be careful. Some of these refrigeration units don't like that. They have frequency issues.
Yep.
You have to make sure. Yeah, make sure you're reading into that.
Yeah.
I think code in New York now is everything has to be arc full, GFCI breaker, outlet, etc. in the kitchen.
It's kind of confusing because you got that, and then you got the manufacturer. It says it can't be on that.
Exactly.
So it's like, well, what do? You got to have it to build a house.
Right.
But then the manufacturer says it can't be on it.
I think electricians are finding ways around it. I mean, for inspection purposes and stuff. But that's not professional advice. We're just saying follow whatever your local state law is for code. But some of these units don't like it. We've seen them do some really wonky stuff. Yeah. Especially nowadays, everything's LED, transformer, low voltage. You have inverters all over, multiple inverters inside of units. So it's something to keep an eye out. And guess what? Homeowners have no idea about any of that stuff. None. The manufacturer, it's not like you open it up and it says like, oh, be careful, this has multiple inverters. No one knows that. You just got to keep an eye on it as a technician. Keep that in the back of your mind. So in terms of, just to circle back with the performance checks, super important to take care of your appliances.
Yes.
Make sure you're maintaining them properly. And if you can't or, whatever, call us. We'll do it.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what we do. We have promotions that we run throughout the year for performance checks. So business owners, keep that in mind. So it's kind of fill-in work for you when you need it.
Yep, especially during the slow season.
Especially during the slow season, yeah. And it's also something that customers love because 9 times out of 10, they didn't even know that whatever they were, whatever appliances they had needed real maintenance.
No, and they don't. And a lot of companies don't do it.
Yeah, they don't.
When we tell them we do it, they're like, "Oh, I could never have a company that would do that." So
yeah,
it's a good thing to do. to get your foot in the door, taking care of the customer, you know.
Yeah.
I think it's a great thing to do the performance checks and make sure everything's running good. It saves the customer, I think, money in the long run.
Oh, 100%. I don't think we've ever had a customer complain about performance checks to us.
No.
To be honest with you.
No.
You know, carry filters on your trucks. Servicers carry filters on your trucks. And even if you're not upcharging the filter exponentially, just you having the filter is a sale. Number one, you make a couple bucks off of it, if anything. And number two, the customer's happy because now they don't have to order one off of Amazon, which, by the way,
yeah, watch out for that.
do not ever recommend to buy a filter off of Amazon, please. Please. We strongly advise our customers to go directly to the manufacturer and buy it because there's knockoffs of everything.
They look exactly alike, identical. You have to know what to look for.
Yep.
And God forbid something happens, and that's units under warranty, and that manufacturer takes like a plastic analyzation of the water filter, and they know it's not theirs, they will not cover any kind of water damage.
Yeah, so be careful with that. You know, I'm a victim of water damage in my home doing an appliance myself. Of course, we went on vacation, and my refrigerator water supply line burst and was leaking water into my house for, I think we were away for 4 or 5 days. Came home to about a foot of water in my basement, and my kitchen was basically destroyed. So it's so important to make sure, if you're not doing it, have us come and do it. We inspect your water lines for you.
Yeah.
We check washer water lines. They have a lifespan.
Yep.
They have a lifespan, and it's on the physical tag on the washer supply hoses. It will tell you the date of manufacture, and I think
What are they, like 5 years?
I want to say
depending?
it's 4 to 5 years on average. And try to stay away from rubber hoses.
Yes, please.
Rubber hoses are a problem. You know,
braided burst proof is what you need.
Exactly. That's what
rubber.
you need. Yeah, you need a steel braided line. That's, you know, they call it burst proof. Is it really burst proof? Probably not. But it's kind of like PEX in the sense that it can expand and contract.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you have a regular plastic line, usually it can only do that but so many times before it starts getting pinholes in it.
Those rubber lines are good for... They hold pressure, but not constant pressure. So if it has constant pressure,
that's why you use it for a garden hose.
Yeah, that's
a garden hose. You're turning it on and off. It's not, you know, you're not having constant water pressure.
No.
I don't know exactly what the water column is like in general coming into a home. It's something we can definitely look into. But yeah, you know, this is stuff that we do. We go a couple of extra steps on service calls. It makes our customers happy. It makes our business thrive, and we try to make it easy for customers to schedule and easy for our office staff to follow up, because when they read our notes, they know exactly what we did there, and they know that, you know, they have peace of mind, I guess you could say, knowing that they have a list of everything we did top to bottom.
Yeah.
You know, we're inspecting everything from gaskets to fans. Obviously, we're not ohming out the misters, okay? You have to draw the line somewhere.
Yeah, that's, you know.
You know, but we're doing the basic checks of a unit to make sure its functionality
If a thermistor wasn't working correctly when we were there, we would know because either the temperature wouldn't be correct, or maybe you'll get an error code, or if you go into service mode, it's not reading what it should be reading.
Exactly.
So really, that's what you check for when you go for that.
Exactly.
And also try to, you know, me personally, I try to go the extra mile. Like if I'm pulling a range out or anything refrigerated to clean the condenser, I'll clean behind the unit for the customer, vacuum it here and there, just because, especially if they're older people.
What does it take?
It takes me 2 minutes.
It takes you 2 minutes.
But then the customer's happy.
Exactly. It's just that it's doing those extra things that people care about. I remember when I first started in this industry, Mike was a big stickler for going to a refrigerator and not cleaning the condenser. Like he used to be like, if you went there for something not condenser related and you didn't clean it, he's like, you were there, why didn't you just clean it? You know, so that's just some of the stuff that we do.
That's the first thing that someone's going to look at as a customer, you know.
Exactly.
Oh, but JIC was just here.
Right. Exactly.
They fixed my whatever, so why didn't they clean the condenser?
Right.
So it just doesn't look good.
A couple weeks from now, when it's not working, they call another company.
And you know they're going to call us and you know, or whoever, and
blame them.
Exactly.
Yeah,
You touch that unit, the whole thing's under warranty.
Yeah. So listen, like, subscribe, share, follow us. There's so much more where this came from. We're going to start something, I think, within the next couple of podcasts. I want to do something called Tech Talk, where we really dive into some of the technical side of stuff.
Things we see.
But you know, reach out to us. Let us know what you're doing.
Let us know what you guys see.
We want to know. All right. So we'll see you on the next one.
Thanks,
Thank you, everyone.
See you later.
Thank you for watching the Just In Case podcast. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button.